Juliet, full of emotions, agreed to marry Paris out of fear of her father. Immediately regretting her decision, she sneaks off to Friar Lawrence and tells him what she has agreed to.
Friar, I agreed to marry Paris and betrayed my dear Romeo. What advice do you have for me? Because I regret everything.
How could you? I just married you and Romeo. He trusted you. But I guess I do have something that may delay or even cancel this wedding with Paris if that's what you wish.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you, Friar. What is this thing you talk about?
It is a special ingredient from faraway mountains. On your wedding day, I will serve Paris a dessert laced with this ingredient. 20 minutes after he eats it, he will start to feel very sick and won't be strong enough to stand. He will not be able to follow through with the wedding, and it will be delayed. This will give you a few days, hopefully, to find time where you can escape and find Romeo in Mantua. But I would recommend that you not eat anything at the wedding, as the ingredient is not fatal to all men, but it can be fatal for women.
I don't want to do this, but I have to. Being wed to Paris, while also being married to Romeo, would make all my days a misery. I love Romeo, and would do anything to be with him.
Juliet thanked Friar Lawrence and left to go back home. Meanwhile, Juliet's father was not happy with the disappearance of Juliet after she became engaged to Paris. He's a grumpy man. He was planning on celebrating with Juliet, which when she didn't come home for a while, he was prepared to punish her.
Juliet, where were you? I've been waiting for hours. We were supposed to celebrate, and you wasted the time of so many people.
I'm so sorry. I was meeting with Friar Lawrence. I wanted to tell the news, and then he had me stay to give me a blessing and congratulate me. I promise I won't stay late out again without you knowing.
I don't care about Lawrence. You will not leave this house until your wedding day.
Juliet ran to her room and wept. She told the nurse about how she was being forced to marry Paris and convinced her to do a favor.
Please find Romeo and give him this note. In it contains a message about my engagement with Paris and other little things I wanted to tell him. But please do not open it and make sure it gets to him soon.
But won't your father and mother want me here, looking after you?
Don't worry. I'm not allowed to leave the house until my dreaded wedding day. So I'm not in too much need for you right now.
So, the nurse traveled quickly to Mantua and found Romeo and gave him the letter. Far from the bad news of the wedding, Juliet wrote about her plan to stop the wedding and escape to Mantua with Romeo. She also wrote that if she did not find him before 3 days after the wedding, then something tragic must have happened. The days have passed, and it is now Juliet's wedding day with Paris. Juliet spent most of her time sitting in her room thinking about Romeo and wondering what he would think about everything that was about to happen with the wedding.
Juliet, wake up! It is time to get ready for your wedding!
Oh, it is now that dreaded day. The day where I would rather be dead than live out the events that will take place soon. Why must my father be like this? I can make my own decisions, and they are to be with Romeo.
Life is hard, but Paris is a great man. And you know how I feel about him. This marriage won't be life-ending like you are making it out to be.
The wedding is now taking place, and Paris is talking to Friar Lawrence. The friar is a piece of cake laced with the hidden ingredients in his hand.
Oh, what a beautiful day it is, Paris. Oh, speaking of wonderful things, have you tasted the cake yet? Because I have an extra piece right now.
Thank you, sir. I would love a piece. I was just on my way to try some anyways.
Paris takes a bite and then says,
This is good.
Paris eats the rest of it quickly and in a messy way, leaving some frosting around his mouth and on his lips. Then the bells rung for everyone to gather together and get the wedding started. There weren't many guests, so it started in less than 10 minutes. Paris and Juliet then exchanged vows, but Juliet did not say much, and what she did say was not true. She started to get worried, and she thought that the friar was wrong about the ingredient. When they were married, about 18 minutes had passed since Paris ate the cake. Juliet and Paris kissed, and Juliet got some of the cake in her mouth that was on Paris' lips.
Friar, the cake.
My lovely Juliet, what has happened? You haven't died, have you? Somebody get a doctor.
A few seconds later, Paris dropped to the ground. Everyone thought that he was dead as well, but he was only in a deep sleep. The panic heightened among the crowd. Then the unexpected happened. Romeo appeared at the wedding. After reading the note, he couldn't risk Juliet's plan failing and resulting in him not being able to see her again. He planned to sneak in and secretly watch, so that if the ingredient did not work on Paris, he could cause a distraction before Juliet was wed and get her to escape. But Romeo's plan did not work either, as he showed up too late. Juliet had written the letter in a rush and accidentally said that the wedding was at 3 instead of 2.
Who has done this to Juliet? Is she living?
Romeo, you should not be here right now. You are banished.
It was you who did this to her, wasn't it? Juliet wrote to me about your plan to stop the wedding. But you must have tricked her so that Juliet as well would be poisoned.
Now, Romeo, don't make these.
Capulets charge at Romeo.
You have been banished, but you came here again. Speak your last words before you too will die here today.
Romeo kneeled down and gave Juliet one last kiss before he was taken and killed outside by the Capulets. When the monsters got word of their son's death, they were furious. But when they heard about the death of both Paris and Juliet, they felt the pain of the Capulets as well.
Oh!
Lord Montague decided not to attack the Capulets, as he understood that Romeo knew he would be killed if he returned, and he would probably end up getting killed by a Capulet if he went after them. And he did not want to risk leaving his wife with the pain of losing her son and her husband on the same day.
No! Was that usable at all?